Hi, my name's Jen, and I am from Stafford, Virginia, and I teach paper making. And today we're going to talk about the history of paper, and this is our first slide, and we're talking about what civilization invented paper, and we're talking about different civilizations that could have invented paper. Do you think it was the ancient Egyptians, the Moors, the Arabs, the Persians, the Aztecs, the Japanese, or the Chinese? Who do you guys think invented paper?
I was raised thinking it was the Egyptians, but...
Aha, so we'll get to that. So we're going to talk about some pre-paper media. And this is a list of pre-paper media. Wood, metal, stone, leaves, ceramics, bark, papyrus, and parchment. So that's the Egyptians were papyrus. Okay. And and cloth is another pre-paper media. So Egyptians and papyrus. Egyptians were one of the first people that did writing, but the papyrus was not really a true paper. It was developed before 2200 BC, and it was not considered true paper because it was the way it was formed. They just used it was made in a mat, so they put the things together and it went this way and that way. And it was made in thin blades and then laminating to them in a weave, so it was not really a paper, but it does appear similar to cloth. So it was not structured like the writing or printing surfaces we use today, but papyrus became the Latin word for paper, even though it is not the first paper. But nearly 2,000 years later, the Chinese created the first true or practical form of paper, and they did this by reducing raw material into individual fibers and then forming them into a mat or a sheet. So that's the difference, is that the papyrus was woven more like fabric, and the paper we'll be making today and that the Chinese they made the raw materials into individual fibers. Basically, they pulped them up, which is what we're going to do with the blenders, and made them into a sheet. Okay, there we go. So the inventor of paper is widely accepted that, and I'm going to probably butcher this poor person's name, Cai Lun, a Chinese court official, invented paper in 105 AD. So the making of paper is a very ancient art, even though it wasn't the Egyptians and papyrus. And here's a picture that they think was similar to what they were doing back then. And they used mulberry bark or hemp waste, old rags, fish nets to make the paper back then. And here's the historical significance of paper. 175 AD, paper replaced silk as a medium for writing. 610 AD, the Japanese began to make paper. And in 750 AD, the battle fought between Muslims and Chinese at Samarkand in Turkestan, now part of Uzbekistan, formerly part of the Soviet Union, spurred the development of paper outside China's dominion. So paper has had a historical significance in different times during the world. Do you guys have any questions while we're taking a break?
No, but you are going to need some towels, and I have 2 tubs of them over here. Take back at some point. I thought about that about 3 o'clock this morning and woke up and they're, oh, towels!
Do you want longer on this picture? I kind of went over this one fast. This right here, Ceylon's paper. So this is was the first kind of paper. This is the guy that Ceylon was the one that is credited with inventing paper, and it was made from mulberry bark, hemp waste, old rags, and fish nets. So the mulberry bark, I'm very excited about this. This is what I'm going to learn how to do next month in November. It's also called koso. And so I'm taking a workshop on that next month and learning the Japanese form of paper. So I'm pretty excited to learn this ancient art. So we're learning how to make recycled paper today, but I'm going to learn how to make paper with mulberry bark next month. And I'm learning Taiwan is sponsoring that, so it's kind of exciting. And we went through the historical significance of paper here. And this is a little bit more of the historic significance of paper. In the late 900s, playing cards were invented, so, you know, that's important. And in the mid-15th century, Johannes Gutenberg's invention of movable type spurred the production for paper necessary for the production of books. And so that's when paper really came into play, because once you had movable type, then it was a game changer, right? Because you could make more books. Before the mid-15th century, all books were handwritten, and so then it took a lot longer to make a book than if you could print more copies of them. Right. So once you could print books, you had the paper renaissance from 17th to 19th century Europe. France was the center of paper production, and they exported papers to all of Europe. It possessed the best paper makers and the finest equipment in the world. And France also experienced internal struggle and unrest during the 17th century. And it caused their paper makers to flee to England, Holland, and America. And so that's how we got some paper makers here. The skilled French paper makers contributed to the English and Dutch paper manufacturers, transforming them into the foremost paper manufacturers in Europe. All right. America's first paper mill was built in 1690 by William Rittenhouse. So it's a long time ago. And it was in Philadelphia. And I would love to go there. I don't know if it's still there. We'll have to look that up. Since that time, America has been the world's largest producer of paper and pulp products. And that's the end. So maybe we'll go on a field trip to Philadelphia and see if it's still there. I'm not sure. But I don't know. 1690 seems like it would be a long time ago to still. But I don't know. FCCA was 1785, so it could still be there. So that is the history of paper. Does anyone have any questions about the history of paper?
No. That would have been my second guess.
So there you go. Well, and it's a debate between still a lot of, like if you look online, there's a big debate between China and Japan, which one of them actually did it. Sure. But this is the most, as far as I could research it, the most well accepted facts, because it was so long ago. I mean, when you're talking about, what was it, 165 AD? Yeah. So that's so long ago that, let's see if we can get back. 175 AD, that's so long ago that it's hard to really know, but that's as far as they know. The best guy that they, 105 AD. Widely accepted that Seilu in a Chinese court. See, I would have failed my own test. This is how we're supposed to, at the end, assess by asking questions. So it's good we did this. So widely accepted that Seilu in a Chinese court official invented paper in 105 AD. So 105 AD, even earlier. All right.